What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So let's just jump straight in. Honestly, for all the good the Clippers did do in this series, they've had some ups and downs in this series, of course, just like any series. But giving away games that they should have won definitely came back to haunt them. And, they had games where they could have made better adjustments, in regards to, who's on the floor, who isn't, and which scheme works more effective. It's a lot of things we can look to. But Game 7, this might be the worst loss the Clippers have ever had in team history. And I'm even talking about the bubble meltdown might not even be close. You go into Game 7, and honestly, the only one that really looked like they had any effort, especially the first half, was Kawhi Leonard. He looked like the only one that had effort. Everybody else did not show up. They were not there. And I feel like they all just checked out at some point. I really feel like they did. I can't look at it or can't describe it any other way. And for the Norman Powells and those players not to show up in a big Game 7 like this, some people might give them an excuse or excuse them. And if you want to do that, you can. But one of the biggest blames I say in this game, well, really is all the Clippers. Because they all failed. You can't really single out one person. But, if we are singling out certain efforts being put in, well, we might want to start with Ty Lue. You didn't go with the same lineup you went in the second half to basically take Denver out of that Game 6, which was insert Nicholas Batum. How do you not think to go with that same lineup with Nicholas Batum in the starting lineup when you see that Nicholas Batum made that type of effect? Nico made that type of effect because he can guard the perimeter and he can rotate and help at times on Jokic, which can distract Jokic from making all the passes that he makes in between him trying to score and fake out the defense by not allowing the defense to know what he's doing. When you have Nico in there, he causes a distraction and a diffusion where it makes Jokic make his decisions go faster. And when you speed up the process, a lot of times you make mistakes. The same thing Jokic did in Game 6. He made mistakes at times when Nico was on him. And Nico blocked one of his shots. And Nico guarded Jamal Murray at times in Game 6. He was everywhere. And Nico was a knockdown shooter. So why not go with what you saw worked in Game 6 and implement it in Game 7 to start? Ty Lue says all the time, we need to start fast. We need to start quicker. Well, you can start quicker by having the right clientele out there if you saw it worked in Game 6. But you do something dumb like your protege or the guy you look up to, Doc Rivers, something he would have done, which is not make the adjustment that he clearly see that possibly could help and let your guys go on the floor and let them figure it out. The same exact thing Doc Rivers would do, which is the reason why he's trash. You see, when Ty Lue won the championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron and Kyrie, not only you had LeBron and Kyrie, two guys in their prime that would show up in a Game 7, who would show up all playoffs, who were very good to great dominant players when they had the ball in their hands. But you also played in the Eastern Conference, where it's a whole lot easier. You had a younger Boston team. You had a Toronto team with DeMar DeRozan, who's trash, who can't get nobody nowhere. You had an Indiana team where they really weren't good, a Detroit team that wasn't even good at all, and a younger Giannis at that time. And you had a ailing Derrick Rose who was injury prone from all the injuries he had. So it was easier in the Eastern Conference because you had a lot less competition. But nobody's talking about Ty Lue's operation and his coaching in the Western Conference. Because in the playoffs in the Western Conference, he's looked putrid at best. You really let a rookie head coach on the Denver team outcoach you? That's pathetic. His rights as a coach should be taken away from him for that. He should never be an NBA coach ever again. The fact that you got outcoached by a rookie head coach. And he ain't even been coaching for like a whole season. You know, it's horrible. And then we get to James Harden. In 4 Game 7s combined, he's took 51 field goal attempts in 4 Game 7s. Let that sink in. 51 field goal attempts he's taken in 4 Game 7s that he's played. That tells me you're scared of the moment. And when you have a player of his caliber that people put him at this level of greatness and he's the system and all this bullshit that he talks about, where was the system in Game 7? James Harden is the worst Game 7 player or the worst playoff player you can ever have. In big moments, he's the worst player in the league. He never shows up when you need him to. He's always absent when you need him at the most. And in Game 7s, he's not even attempting enough shots to even catch fire. 8 shots in a Game 7? I mean, I think most people would probably rather James Harden shoot 20 to 25 shots and miss damn near every one of them. At least apply yourself. At least try. He doesn't even do that. That's how much of a bitch he is. And you know something? Russell Westbrook was talking all series at the Clippers bench. Like, you rather get rid of me to have James Harden? How bad do the Clippers look now by keeping James Harden over Russell Westbrook? Now, me personally, I wouldn't trust neither one of them to run my team's offense in the playoffs because neither one of them really have a clutch gene. And neither one of them can be trusted in regards to keeping the ball safe. Both of them are turnover worthy. But the one thing I can say about Russ that maybe a lot of people don't give him credit for, he brings that fucking energy every minute, every hour, every second, every game. If Russ was the starting point guard for the Clippers, he wouldn't go out with 8 shots. He would go out with at least 15 to 20. And honestly, like I said, the Clippers checked out to me. Kawhi Leonard checked out after the lead swelled up. The Clippers got outscored by 29 points with James Harden on the floor. But this is the system. James Harden shouldn't be in the league anymore after this performance. Because what else can you say about him now? You can blame Kawhi, you can blame everybody else on the team, but nobody else on the team said they're the system but James Harden. If you're going to go all out on a limb and make a quote like that, you've got to show up in a Game 7. Or at least you got to go out guns blazing. Put up 20, 25 shots. If you only make 7 or 8 of them, oh well. At least you attempted. At least you tried. He's done this so many times in Game 7s where he's put up very, very minimal field goal attempts because he just doesn't want to be in that moment or be the one, where he put up 20-some shots and he shot very horribly and he's the reason why they lost. News flash, James Harden. If you put up 8 shots, you're still going to be looked at as the reason why a team lost because you didn't apply yourself and put in the effort to help your team win. So you might as well go out shooting. He shot more than that in Game 6. The team can't get going that much without you because you have the ball in your hands more than anybody, even more than the best player on the team, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Kobe said it a long time ago, the great Kobe Bryant. Any player that has a lot of ball usage, that overextends holding the ball a long time, don't win championships. And the player he was talking about was James Harden at the time when he was on the Houston Rockets. That game style does not win championships. Because you lose energy over time when you have the ball too much, when you're too ball dominant. You just do. You got to learn to play off the ball just as well. One reason why LeBron always excelled, even though he had the ball in his hands a lot, he also knew how to play off the ball a lot just as well. He would pass the ball up at the top of the key, make a backdoor cut to the rim, and get a layup or a dunk. And a lot of times he'll put it in the hands of the actual point guard on the team and kind of let him, whether it was Kyrie when he was on Cleveland or whoever he's had, it doesn't matter. He would play off the ball at times because, first of all, it throws off the defense a little bit. It gives him a little bit of a break of having the ball in his hands. And on top of that, it allows him to be more free to get easier baskets if he's going to do a cut to the back door, to the basket where the center sets the screen, or he goes up for the alley, because LeBron's always been athletic in his prime. But there's other things you can do. You can't play with the ball and have so much ball usage where it really takes away from the team. And that's the reason why players like James Harden and Luka Doncic don't win anything. But even Luka's a way better player than James Harden because he will go out in a game 7 and shoot guns blazing. I don't think Luka's going to take 7 shots in a game 7. He might, but I don't think he's going to do it 4 times in 4 different game 7s. I don't see that. James Harden is the worst playoff performer I think I've ever seen in regards to when the game is on the line, when you need him the most. He's just not there. It's a choke job. And I really feel bad for Kawhi for trying to be healthy for the team and playing the way he did this series. You realize they would have lost this series even quicker than they did if Kawhi didn't have that 39 points in game 2. Because James Harden didn't show up in that game either, really. Nobody's really talking about that. They might have lost the series in 5 games if it weren't for that virtuoso that Kawhi had. They just might. And, of course, Kawhi was being steady throughout the rest of the playoffs as well. They won the first round as well against Denver. But they would have lost sooner if it weren't for that. Might not even made it to a game 6. As soon as you believe in James Harden or the system, it always crashes as soon as you believe in the process of it. And now you got to look at it. Kawhi stayed healthy this time. And he's going into an offseason healthy. And he's going to come back healthy, hopefully. And the Clippers are going to have to really figure things out. Because I just can't. I don't know if Kawhi is even sure he's going to come back to this team. Because they have nothing to look forward to. Not a thing. Really no draft picks. No other superstars probably going to come there unless they can convince Giannis to come there, which that's going to be a stretch right there because I hear Giannis more for like the Lakers and Phoenix is what I heard. And Clippers not nowhere in there from what I hear anyway so far. So unless you land another superstar player like that where you can definitively say we have a real shot at winning because you can't depend on the so-called second star, James Harden. You just can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, unless they get somebody like that, I don't really know or I don't really see the vision. I really don't. And like I said, if they lose Kawhi, well, it's all shattered glass after that. Now, maybe he will come back. Who knows? But his contract is not that extensive. What did he sign, a 3-year contract, 2-year contract, 150 or something like that? Last year, a season or 2 ago. Come on. He didn't sign no long supermax. So Clippers fans, is a lot to think about in a very long offseason because they got outed in the first round by giving up games and not being able to depend on coaches to make the right adjustments and not being able to depend on certain players to at least be steady in their scoring, in their defense, in their output, at least be steady. Because that Game 7 is not like Jokic and them had outstanding numbers. They just had perfect balance. 15, 16, 19, 21, 17. It's just, you know what I mean? They just had steady numbers between everybody. It's not like Jokic had 50 and 16 assists. Just play steady sometime. Get steady output from your guys. If Norm Powell is a steady 17 the whole series might be different. If James Harden's a steady 21 points the whole series be different. Kawhi Leonard's already steady. He's already that. You can just pencil him in. He averaged 25 points a game this series. So no worries there. You make the adjustment with Nico Batum, you see it worked, leave him in there. I just don't know. I really don't.